Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Cilinix Crypto and welcome to your daily update on MONAD. Yesterday, I posted a video on MONAD. There we spoke a little bit more about the fundamentals and what I expected from the launch and what I expected from the coin. I expected a little bit more of a pullback yesterday morning, but ultimately the direction was correct, right? I mean, we still saw quite a lot of momentum. We still saw some indications of a potential short squeeze increasing. My price targets were, I would say conservative. My price target initially was 3.8, which we reached very quickly after I made the video. And then after that, we spoke about 4.2, and you can see here on the 1 hour time frame, we hit that relatively quickly as well, found some minimal resistance, but ultimately MONAD was far stronger than I expected. And at this point of time, but my bias was correct. My bias was bullish. My bias at this point of time is still bullish. Obviously, the conditions around MONAD have changed. It is now trading at a higher market cap. I mean, when we look at that right now, it's trading at a 400 and almost $500 million market cap. Fully diluted valuation of 4.4. What I said yesterday is that I care a lot about the fundamental development. The TVL of MONAD at this point of time is sitting at about $124 million. We almost have $200 million in stable coins moving into that. The DEX trading volumes are almost sitting at $200 million as well. So those are all pretty good fundamentals. So it's pretty good fundamental growth. Obviously, we still have to wait for how that develops over the course of the next week. But those fundamentals are good enough to expect some more bullish momentum. I think the structure is also good enough to expect that. If you look at the 1 hour time frame, there's a lot of momentum. Momentum is decreasing. You can see some bearish divergences, but in every uptrend, there are bearish divergences. And one critical thing that I think you need to acknowledge, and I think you need to know right now, is something we will see if we look at MONAD in terms of the long-short positioning. What you can see right now is that shorters are far outweighing, at least in quantity, the longers, right? So we have a long-short ratio on OKX of 0.63. That's extremely low. It's 0.81 on Binance. And then the Binance top traders in terms of accounts, you also have a lot of you have way more. You basically have 0.8 longers for every one shorter you have. So a lot of people are shorting this, and then you have the top trader long short ratio in terms of positions, right? So in how big the positions are, and you see 1.17, right? So there's much more money, or at least much more smart capital, big money, whatever you want to call it, in longs. Yesterday we also had a brief period of time of negative funding rates, but it seems like the shorters are not pushed out. And that is also something we observed yesterday morning. That was the key reason why I expected more bullish momentum over the course of yesterday. Although, like I said, I did expect a pullback, which was not correct. Transparency. And if we look at the order flow situation right now for MONAD, if it's able to launch a little bit quickly, you can still see that the open interest, like yes, we have some short liquidations. It's definitely happening, but at the same point of time, the open interest is also still increasing. And there are definitely periods of time where we have short positions coming in while the open interest is increasing, right? So that means that short positions are still opening. We had some major short positions actually coming in over the course of the launch yesterday. Some of those are still open as well. It seems like, at least, it's always difficult to know what exactly is happening. But while that is continuing, and while there's no immediate danger to the structure, the bullish structure that we're building, I think you should be aware of possible pullbacks. The key area that we could pull back into is right here at 3.8 and 3.9, which could be an opportunity as well, by the way. It's definitely an opportunity I'm keeping my eyes on, but I would argue that it's most likely that we're going to rally up higher for MONAD. When we're talking about higher at this point of time, I would say the key price target that we're aiming for is 5.5 cents. 5.5 cents is a relevant level structurally before. Let me actually not extend this to the right. And you can also see towards that level, we have a high liquidity zone with the point of control of the price action we had at the beginning of November. So relevant level, I would say it's most likely we're going to generally rally up to that level. And I think it's critical for you also to keep your eyes on those long-short ratios, right? We're most likely going to top out once we actually see major short liquidations, once we continue to see bearish divergences, and once this comes closer to 1 or potentially even turns into 1.05, 1.1, and this number to the downside gets closer to 1 as well to the downside. Those are my thoughts. I think that's what you need to know regarding MONAD for now. So hopefully that helps. But for now, thank you for watching. Take care and bye.